Coming up tonight on our election special coverage of News Central, we'll have the latest details on the governor's race as the polls have closed and the votes are being counted.
And Michiganders have voted today on other Michigan electives. We'll have updates on each of those races.
Plus, here in Mount Pleasant, local residents voted on officials who will govern in their areas. We'll have those results as they come in.
All this coming up tonight as we highlight the races that affect your community in this special coverage of the 2022 Michigan midterm elections. Live from Central Michigan University, News Central starts now.
Good evening and welcome to the special election edition of News Central. I'm Michael France.
And I'm Rachel Ramsey. We are coming to you live from the Moore Hall studio, bringing you the latest election night results.
First, we will head over to the big board with Megan.
Thank you, Michael. I am Megan Huskins. I'm going to be your polling result anchor for the evening, keeping you updated on all the election results. Okay, so we're first going to start off here with our governor race. We have Democrat candidate Gretchen Whitmer, who is ahead currently of Tudor Dixon at 53.7%, and we can see our Republican candidate Tudor Dixon is down at 44.8%. Currently, our reporting is 13.28% right now, so we're just getting above that 10% range for the votes that they're counting over at the polls. Right now, we have the Attorney General race here. This is our Democratic candidate, Dana Nessel. She's up at 52.8%. As you can see below, the over 300,000 votes are in. Down here, we have just over almost 300,000 votes here. 300,000 votes for Matthew DePerno. He is a Republican candidate. He's at 45%. We have a 12.6 reporting, so just above 10% again for the amount of votes that are in. Next, we have Proposal 3. This is the proposal on reproductive freedom. There is a 56.1% voted so far for yes and 43.9% for no. As you can see for the reporting, it's 10.73, so just above that 10% rating for the polls. Now we're going to head back to Michael at the desk.
Thank you, Megan. The incumbent governor, Gretchen Whitmer, was first elected to the office of the governor in 2018. Whitmer was born in Lansing, Michigan, and raised in Grand Rapids. She graduated from Michigan State University and the Michigan State University School of Law. One major stance Whitmer holds during this campaign is providing Michiganders access to, quote, safe legal abortion, unquote. Additionally, Whitmer has expressed her stance on funding education without raising taxes and working to, quote, fix the damn roads. Whitmer's running mate, Lieutenant Governor Garland Gilchrist, was born and raised in Detroit, Michigan. Gilchrist says he supports voting rights, criminal justice reform, and expanding high-speed internet access across Michigan. Megan will keep us updated on Whitmer's position in the race as the night goes on.
Tudor Dixon, the GOP's nominee for governor, was born and raised in Illinois before attending the University of Kentucky. She would move to Muskegon eventually in the 2000s, where she had a career in the steel industry at her family's steel company before becoming a commentator for conservative media. Tudor Dixon emerged from a wide field of candidates representing the Republican Party when she won the GOP primary on August 2nd of this year with her Lieutenant Governor Shane Hernandez. Dixon's platform is aligned with common stances of the GOP today, including her being a strong pro-life supporter. She is also outspoken about, quote, protecting girls' sports, unquote, by banning biologically born boys from competing on girls' sports teams. Economically, Dixon plans on cutting, reducing, streamlining 40% of Michigan's business regulations to, quote, unleash entrepreneurs, unquote. She says she also wants to reduce income tax and increase funds to law enforcement. Megan will also be letting us know where Dixon stands in the race.
Out of all the proposals on this year's ballot, Proposal 3 has gained the most scrutiny. Proposal 3 would amend the state constitution to provide every individual with the right to reproductive freedom. This includes the right to carry out pregnancy-related decisions, such as those concerning prenatal care, childbirth, postpartum care, contraception, sterilization, abortion, miscarriage management, and infertility care. The state would still be able to regulate abortion after the fetus is viable, but it could not prohibit an abortion that is medically indicated to protect the life, physical health, or mental health of the pregnant individual. Lastly, the state would not be able to prosecute or penalize an individual based on the actual, potential, alleged, or perceived outcomes of the individual's pregnancy. The state would also not be able to prosecute or penalize a person for assisting a pregnant individual who has given voluntary consent to exercise the right to reproductive freedom as described. According to the latest poll by Signal, an independent analytics firm, 52.7% of Michiganders are for Proposal 3, while 42.7% are against it, and 5.1% are unsure. We will update you on the Proposal 3 results as they come in.
Republican Matthew DePerno challenges Democrat incumbent Dana Nessel in the race for Michigan Attorney General. Though both candidates have been campaigning, the two have not debated each other at all. Nessel has declined to debate DePerno due to her request for a special prosecutor to investigate him. Muskegon County Prosecutor Democrat DJ Hilson is currently investigating whether DePerno was involved with the 2020 election conspiracy involving tampering with voting tabulators. Trump-backed candidate DePerno denies any involvement with voting tabulator tampering. He also criticizes Nessel and other Democrats' handling of the COVID pandemic and says if he is elected, he will launch criminal probes into their conduct. Megan is keeping an eye on the polls and will be back with updates.
After the break, we will have an update on the governor's race and attorney general's race.
And later in the show, we'll break down all three proposals on the Michigan ballot.
We will also give you updates on the other candidates you voted for in the 2022 Michigan elections. Stay tuned.
Hey, Dad. Hey, Dad. Do we have a gun?
Why do you ask that, kiddo?
Did you know dragging chains can spark a wildfire?
Only you can prevent wildfires.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move. So I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day, I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
Being prepared is a part of who you are, but it's especially important in the case of a disaster. Be informed about possible emergencies in your area. Make a plan that covers where you go in an emergency. Build a kit with the things you need to survive. There's no one more capable of planning for your situation than you. Start your plan today. Go to ready.gov/myplan.
Live from Central Michigan University, News Central starts now.
Welcome back to our News Central Special Edition election night coverage.
Thanks for tuning in as we look at the latest results from across the area. The Michigan Senate race heats up here in the 34th District of Michigan and features three candidates for voters to choose from. There is Christine Gervais representing the Democrats and Roger Hawk representing the Republicans. The third candidate on the ballot is Becky McDonald, who is representing the U.S. Taxpayer Party. During the primary election, McDonald and Gervais ran uncontested. For Hawk, he faced Lisa Showers during the primaries, but won nearly 70% of the votes. Hawk currently represents the House of Representatives for Michigan in District 99, while Gervais and McDonald running for their first time in any election. Now we are going to throw it to Kylie in the newsroom with a look at the Michigan congressional race.
Thank you, Rachel. And with so much going on nationally, the race continues to be tight here in Michigan for the congressional race. For the Michigan District 2 representatives in Congress, Democrat Jerry Hilliard is up against Republican incumbent John Moulinar. And for the 92nd District representative in the state legislature, Democrat Anthony Faig is running against Republican Jerry Nayer. Both candidates are looking to replace Terry Sabo, whose term ends in January, and is now running for office in the Michigan District 32. Later in the show, Megan will have the latest results for the 34th District Congress race, but for now, I'm going to send it back to Michael in the studio.
Thanks, Kylie. The race continues tonight for the next Secretary of State of Michigan. The candidates running include Democrat Jocelyn Benson, Republican Christina Caramo, Larry Hutchinson Jr. of the Green Party, and Libertarian Gregory Stempfel, and Christine Schwartz of the U.S. Taxpayers Party. Benson served as Secretary of State since 2017. If reelected, Benson hopes to increase ways to contact the Secretary of State's office, such as doubling the amount of mobile service stations in Michigan and increasing in-person services. Republican candidate Caramo is a community college educator and podcast host. Caramo wants to bring more walk-in appointments and expand digital services, along with making mobile offices more accommodating if she is elected. We will have more about the Secretary of State results later. Now, here's Brooklyn Andrews to talk about the Michigan State representative race.
Thanks, Michael. With the Michigan representative positions on the line, our reporter Madison Porter is here to talk more about it.
I had the opportunity to talk to two of the candidates running for state representative for the 92nd District. The 92nd District covers all of Isabella County and the northern half of Gratiot County. They explained to me what skills they have that will make them a good candidate and what they plan on accomplishing if elected. Jerry Nyer, the Republican candidate, spent his life growing up on his family's farm and now runs the farm. His experience with the environment and the community shapes his skills as an election candidate.
I've been advocating for agriculture in my rural community for the last 20 plus years, working directly with our elected officials. So I've had a pretty good idea how the legislature works, how important it is to have sound policy in place, and what it takes to get it done.
He finds it important to have somebody like himself with a rural agricultural background and experience with small businesses represent the state. Nyer sees the economy is struggling and wants to help stimulate the economy by creating more job opportunities.
Now I'd like to try and find ways to advocate and get more skilled trades programs in place in our school systems to make the systems more favorable, so that way our kids have a wider choice for careers, not just a 4-year degree program.
And putting relief money in more important places where the state won't have to pick up the tab. Anthony Faig, the Democratic candidate, is a scientist by training. He describes himself as a person that looks at a problem from multiple different angles and with an open mind.
I bring scientific habits of mind to solving problems, and that also means having to work with a whole bunch of different kinds of people with different backgrounds and different skills, and being ready to listen and collaborate. That's what government is about, and that's what we should be doing.
Faig sees the economy in a state of flux. He finds a large opportunity in diversifying our national energy portfolio with reusable energy solutions, which would ultimately create more job opportunities.
And also, we're going to be increasing our manufacturing of electric vehicles and setting up a charging infrastructure throughout the state. So, we have a lot of opportunities to bring good manufacturing jobs, good union jobs, and service sector jobs to the area. And I see us having a whole lot of promise, and I feel good about that.
He also sees promise in working to preserve, protect, and clean up our waterways, as well as improve education resources and securing access to women's healthcare rights and privacy. Greg Black is the Libertarian candidate. News Central reached out to him for a statement but hasn't heard back. According to his website, Black is fighting for less government interference when it comes to how people run their businesses, as well as the development of medicine and affordable healthcare. He also believes that teachers, parents, and students should make their own choices and sees value in reintroducing the school voucher program. Again, these candidates are running for state representative for the 92nd District that covers all of Isabella County and the northern part of Gratiot County. For News Central, I'm Madison Porter.
Thank you, Madison. There will be more in the outcome of the representative voting results. Now we'll go back to Rachel to update you guys on the Supreme Court.
Thank you, Brooklyn. The Michigan Supreme Court often has the final say on issues of critical importance, determining whether laws enacted by the state legislature are institutional. There are 5 candidates running for the Michigan State Supreme Court with just 2 seats available. 2 of the 5 candidates running are current justices on Michigan's Supreme Court and are running for re-election. The first justice running for re-election is Richard Bernstein. He has been a justice since 2014. The other justice running for re-election is Brian Zara, who has been a full-term justice since 2014. The third candidate running for the court is Kira Harris Bolden. Harris Bolden is a current state representative. If elected, she would be the only justice on the bench who has also served as a lawmaker. The fourth candidate is Paul Hudson, who is an attorney for a law firm and has argued over 150 cases. The fifth and final candidate is Carrie Lee Morgan, who is also an attorney and has ran for the Michigan Supreme Court twice before. Again, 2 chairs are open and will go to the candidates with the most votes. For a look at the appeals court, Kylie shares all the details on how that race is going.
Thanks, Rachel. 2 candidates are running to fill 2 positions for the Michigan Court of Appeals. Both candidates are current judges for the court and must stand as nonpartisan for this election in order to maintain their position on the bench. One of the judges is Brock Swartzel, first appointed in 2017, and the other is Michael Gondola, appointed in 2015. Keep tuning in to tonight's program. Later, we will be announcing the winner for the Supreme Court as those results are available. Now, back to Michael.
Thanks, Kylie. Sarah Spencer Nagel is running for re-election as the Isabella County 21st Circuit Judge. Nominated to the bench in August of 2021 by Governor Gretchen Whitmer, Nagel is a Central Michigan University alumni. Prior to serving as the county's first public defender, she spent most of her career as an indigent criminal defense attorney in her private practice. Nagel has also served as a pre-hearing attorney for the Michigan Court of Appeals and assistant prosecutor for Isabella County. Nagel helped reform Isabella County's public defense system through her work as the chair of the Isabella County Board of Commissioners Ad Hoc Committee on the Michigan Indigent Defense Commission. As a circuit judge, Nagel will see the most extreme cases. She will see cases with claims of more than $25,000 and all felony cases. Now we'll go to Brooklyn to hear about the Michigan Board of Education.
Thanks, Michael. Now, the choice of who will serve as the next representative on the Michigan State Board of Education will be decided this evening. The 8 candidates running include, there are 2 representatives of the Democrat Party, Pamela Poog and Mitchell Robinson, and 2 representatives of the Republican Party, Tamara Caroline and Linda Lee Trevor. The final remaining 4 candidates include 2 Libertarian representatives, Donna Gundel-Craig and Bill Hall, 1 working class representative, Mary Ann Herring, and finally, 1 representative for the U.S. Taxpayers Party, Ethan Hobson. Whomever is elected will manage the concerns that parents have regarding sex, race, and gender issues in libraries and the classroom. We'll keep you updated on who is elected to Michigan State Board of Education. Back to you, Megan, at the big board.
Thank you, Brooklyn. Now we're going to look at some more results that we have coming in. Here we have the congressional representative race here. We have Democratic candidate Jerry Hillard at 34.8%. We have John Mulliner at 63.2%. Our reporting is 13.85, so just a little bit above 10% again. Not too much, but still we are getting there. Next, we have the state senator race. We have Christine Gervais. She is down at 40.6%. And we have Roger Hook at 57.2%. This is for the 34th district here in Isabella County. Now we have the legislative representative race. We have Anthony Fagg at 42.2%, and we have Jerry Nair at 55.6%. Our final slide for this part of my show is the Secretary of State race. We have Jocelyn Benson, 52.8%, and then we have Republican Christina Caramo at 45%. We will now head back to Michael and Rachel at the desk.
Thanks, Megan. When we come back, we'll take a look at some races affecting the people in our area.
Plus, we have a few in-studio interviews with members of politically active student organizations. We'll be right back.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Bobo, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
Okay, Dad. 1, 2, 3. You saved me. Dad?
Are you okay?
I'm fine, dear.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving.
There was an old woman who lived in a shoe. She had so many children, she didn't know what to do. She gave them some broth without any bread and kissed them all soundly and put them to bed. Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org.
Welcome back to the News Central Special Election Show, where we bring you a special look at election results from our area.
Megan is at our big board to get you caught up on all the local election results.
Hi, so we are back still with the same exact congressional representative race. We have still Jerry Hillard at 34.8% and John Mulliner at 63.8%. We have Christine Geray still at 40.6% and Roger Huck at 57.2%. We have Anthony Faig at 42.2%, Jerry Nair at 55.6%, so he is still in the lead. Now we still have Jocelyn Benson at 52.8% and Christine Caramo at 45%. Now we'll head into the newsroom with Ella for the live shot.
Thanks, Megan. I'm Ella Pierzecki here in the newsroom, where I will be giving you live election updates throughout the night. First, we will take a look at the Michigan Supreme Court elections. So, this year for Michigan Supreme Court, there are 5 candidates running. They are running for 2 spots, and these 2 spots are 8-year-long terms. And the 2 candidates who get the most votes will win. The way that Supreme Court nominations work is all the candidates run nonpartisan, but the parties elect and nominate a candidate to run for themselves. So Richard Bernstein is an incumbent to the bench, and he is running under the Democratic nomination. He was first elected in 2014 and is seeking his 2nd term. Brian Zahara is running as the Republican nominee, and he is an incumbent who was appointed to the bench in 2011 by former Governor Rick Snyder. He was then elected in 2012 and is running for another term. Current polls show that Bernstein are leading with 34.9% of the vote, and Zahara in 2nd place with 23% of the vote. Another candidate, Bolden, is close behind with 22.8% of the vote. Keep in mind that only 9% of the votes are in, and none of these results are official. And officials are saying that all the results in the final counts will be reported by Wednesday night. That's all I have for you today. Back to Megan with the big board.
Thanks, Ella. That's all I have on the local elections. Michael will have a closer look at city commissioners.
Thanks, Megan. The Mount Pleasant City Commission is made up of 7 commissioners, including the mayor and vice mayor. Rachel got to speak with the commissioner, CMU professor and human rights activist Maureen Ake about the city commissioner race.
I sat down with City Commissioner Maureen Ake to talk about the upcoming election for the Mount Pleasant City Commission.
There are 2 positions that are on the ballot right now. It's Mary Alsteger's position and George Ronan's position.
Vice Mayor Mary Alsager will be rerunning for City Commission along with 3 new candidates, Daniel Hess, Michael Kostrua, and Boomer Wingard. Maureen talked about what she likes to see within the commission.
I'm looking for somebody who is able to work collaboratively. Please bury your ego, okay? It is not about you. This is much bigger than you. If you're an elected person, you agree that you are going to serve the residents, the city, your community, not yourself. So toss that ego somewhere. Leave it at the door. When you come in there, be ready to engage in a conversation, and a fruitful one.
Another proposal on the ballot would extend city commissioners' terms from 3 years to 4.
We would prefer 4 because it gives us enough time to work on the projects that we initiate. 3-year term restricts the things you can do, in terms of, just 1 year short, really, because the first year it's like freshman student. Second year, hopefully you implement your project. And in the third year, your project is beginning to, develop, or you're, working on it, and suddenly your term is over. We had to think about that, to think in terms of what would really benefit the city and help us do our work as effectively and efficiently as possible. And we think that a 4-year term is a good decision.
Maureen gave me a tour of the downtown area and explained what the city commission does.
We make administrative policies that affect the city, develop policies, look at the ordinances, the language of the ordinance, approve them, and then send them forward, to be voted on. We pass resolutions. We think about the budget, the city's budget. We think about, the planning commission reports to us, and things that we have to do to, make sure that we sustain the city's survival.
I asked Maureen what voters should consider when choosing their city commissioner.
First of all, I hope they do their research, right? I hope they do their research. Go to the League of Women Voters is their website is a good place to go. It's vote411.org.
Okay.
Yes, they should go there and check out, what people are saying.
I'm Rachel Ramsey for News Central.
The proposal on the ballot affecting the City Commission is regarding term years. Voters can choose to keep the commissioners' terms as 3 years or change the term length to 4 years. Stick around to get updates on the commissioner race. But for now, we have a special guest here in the studio from the Central Democrats.
Yes, here with me tonight is Evan Carlson. He is the secretary for Central Democrats, and he is here to discuss his organization. Evan, thanks for joining us. So can you please describe what your organization stands for?
Our organization stands for the promotion of human rights and basic dignity among all American citizens. We are a strong Democratic organization. We support the Democratic Party at the local, state, and national level. We support all their policies, and we are looking to be more of an activist organization.
Okay, and so how would your organization differ from other student political organizations on campus, would you say?
Currently, we are a little bit smaller, on the small side, but we are looking forward to having more growth and building our organization back up and being more involved in our community. So that's something we are bringing to the table right now.
Okay, and what were some of the events that you held this week in honor of these election?
So not so much this week, but prior to that, we were postcarding for other Democratic candidates to help get out the votes in their district and make our voices as Central Democrats more effective across the state of Michigan.
Okay. And then my last question for you would be, how can students become a part of Central Democrats?
Students can become a part of Central Democrats by joining our organizations. We have meetings on Tuesdays from 7 to 8 p.m. in Anspach 254. We would love to have you there.
Okay, thank you, Evan, for your time. I'm sure the many young Democrats at CMU appreciate your dedication to education, advocacy, voter registration, and turnout on campus. So now Brooklyn will be here to tell us about the Isabella Road Commissioner running.
Thanks so much, Rachel. In 1909, the county road commissions were organized by Act 283 by the Michigan legislature to achieve 2 primary goals. The first goal being to provide uniformity in road commission and maintenance across the state, and the second goal being to provide cost-efficient and high-quality road services for local roads. 81 of the 82 county commissions are in in Michigan are not part of the general county government, road commissions receive nearly all of their funding directly from the state. There are currently 3 candidates running for Isabella County Road Commissioner: Democratic nominee Melinda Salchert, a lifetime resident of Isabella County, Republican nominee Bill Houck, and the third and final candidate running for Isabella Road Commissioner is the current Road Commissioner, Republican nominee Terry Turnwald, running for re-election. Megan will keep us updated on those results at the big board, but for now, Michael is in the studio with another special guest here to give their insight on tonight's election. Michael?
That's right, Brooklyn. Sitting next to me is the Speaker of the House of the Student Government Association, Ashley Harvey. Ashley, what are some things that the SGA has done in preparation for the election?
Yeah, of course. So SGA obviously advocates for all students to vote and register to vote. Additionally, we have hosted sitting Governor Gretchen Whitmer, as well as putting a request in for Tudor Dixon without hearing anything back. But anyways, we have really just tried to highlight students to gather information and be informed voters.
And how do you feel you guys have been helping students get a better understanding of the government as a whole?
Yeah, so student government is set up pretty much very similarly to how like the national government is, with there being a House, a Senate, and rather than having a bunch of like places represent from states, we have students that represent their RSOs, and we have senators representing academic colleges. So we kind of modeled the voting process there.
And why do we even have a student government association?
Yeah, of course. So we have a student government association because it is a great way for students to advocate for their needs on campus and kind of talk about what's going on in a very formal and a process that will go to those who need to hear it to make change.
Then has there been any initiative to possibly make it so that there are no classes allowed to be held on Election Day, maybe to help students who have to go home to vote?
So there are some initiatives. Last year, a piece of legislation passed both the House and the Senate talking about ease of student access for voting and talking about doing that, but that is now in the hands of administration. Needs to do something with that. And additionally, there is a faculty resolution that will allow students to not be penalized for missing class due to voting.
All right, thank you for your time, Ashley. The dedication the SGA has in inspiring improvement for the CMU community is important. We thank you for promoting and providing a space for advocacy to create a healthy and diverse learning environment for our university. We will be hearing from more student representatives of political organizations here at CMU later on in the show. Now over to Kylie in the newsroom.
Thanks, Michael. There are 6 candidates running for the 2 open positions on the Mount Pleasant Board of Education. 2 of the 6 candidates are incumbents, Sheila Murphy and Willie Pangle. Murphy has been on the board for 8 years and wants more diverse voices on the board. Pangle was elected in 2020 to fill a vacancy and wants to maintain safety in schools. The 4 new candidates include Michael Barrett, Tyler Morgan, Katie Reed, and Steve Lear. Michael Barrett is looking to bring about positive changes to promote better education for children and more parental involvement. Tyler Morgan has run for the school board in the past but was not elected. Morgan hopes to create an inclusive learning environment for students. Katie Reed is looking to bring accountability, collaboration, and improved communication across the district. And Kevin Lear has not commented on his goals for the school board. Megan is going to have some of those more results that are coming in, but for now, I'm going to send it back to Rachel and Michael.
Thank you, Kylie. Coming up next, Megan will take another look at the big races across the state as the counting continues.
And our live crew will check in on how the polling station in town is doing at counting the votes for this midterm election. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
It takes less than 1 minute to find out if you may have prediabetes. You can do it here. But you probably won't. You're busy. Kids, work, show coming back in 48 seconds. So let's do this now. Hold up 1 finger if you're a man, women 0. 3 more fingers if you're over 60, 2 over 50, 1 over 40. If you're not sure, keep in mind you're sitting on a couch right now, so 1 more finger if you're not very active. 1 finger if yes, 0 if no. 1 yes, 0 no. Next, Find the body type that looks most like you and hold up that many fingers while I look around awkwardly. And that's it. If you're holding up 5 fingers or more, you probably have prediabetes. Sorry to be so blunt, but hey, you're busy. Just go to the site.
Meet the scan, a simple procedure whose mission is to detect lung cancer early.
I'm here to save you.
But I feel fine.
That's great, but you may still be at high risk for lung cancer.
Oh man, that's a new fence.
If you smoke, early detection could save your life. Learn more at savedbythescan.org.
I know kids worry about a lot of things. Getting enough food to eat shouldn't be one of them. Through a nationwide network of food banks, Feeding America serves virtually every community in the United States. See how you can help your community. Visit feedingamerica.org.
This one? Yep. Hello and welcome back to the special election edition of News Central. I'm Kylie Shapansky.
And I'm Brooklyn Andrews. We are bringing you the latest election night results live right here in Moore Hall Studio.
And with that, we're going to go head to the big board to look at the updates on the governor's race with Megan Huskins.
Thank you, guys. We're going to start off with the Attorney General race. We still have Democrat candidate Dana Nessel in the lead at 52.8%. We have Republican Matthew DePerno still at 45%. We're still just above 12% for the reporting that we have votes that are in. Now we're going to head to the Judge of Circuit Court here in Mount Pleasant. She currently has 100% of the votes. We have 5,189. This is Sarah Nagel. She is the only one that is running, so that is all we have for her. Next, we have the Court of Appeals for the 21st Circuit. We have Michael F. Gadola at 51.9%, and we have Brock H. Swartzel at 48%. So as you can see, Michael Gadola is here in the lead at 51.9%. We're going to head it back over to the girls at the desk. Oh, sorry, we're going to Ella in the newsroom.
Thanks, Megan. I'm Ella Pierzecki here in the newsroom, and now I will be updating you about the races for MSU trustee, regent for the University of Michigan, and governor of Wayne State University. Today, Michigan voters have the responsibility to elect people in all of these positions. There are a bunch of names on the ballot, but each person voting can choose their top 2 candidates, with the 2 vote getters in each category getting elected. Leading the race right now for the University of Michigan Regents is Lena Epstein with 6,115 votes and Seveg Veratine with 5,600 votes. Leading for MSU trustees is Mike Balo with 6,100 votes and Travis Merge with 5,900 votes. Leading for governor of Wayne State is Christian Murphy with 6,100 votes and Craig Wishler with 5,700 votes. Again, keep in mind that only 43% of votes have been reported, and these are not official results. Coming up, I will be talking about the breakdown of Mount Pleasant voters on Proposal 3. Now I'm sending it back to Megan at the big board.
Thank you, Ella. Next time I will have the results of the 3 Michigan proposals. For now, across the room, we have a member of a political organization here to share how the midterm elections affect their group. Kylie?
That's right, Megan. Katie Ellison is a representative from Central Votes. Can you please describe how Central Votes helps the CMU community and what your involvement with the organization is?
Absolutely. So as you said, I'm a part of Central Votes. I'm actually our current president, so I'm super fired up about that and stepping into that role. We do nonpartisan voter advocacy here on our campus, so I like to say we don't care who you vote for, we just hope that you vote, and we want to make it as easy as possible for CMU students to vote. So that comes in the way of voter registration drives here on campus, bringing our local city clerk here on campus, giving them any nonpartisan voter info they need to feel prepared on election day. All of the sort of education and advocacy pieces that go into making sure our CMU chips are ready for election day.
Yeah, exactly. How has Central Votes prepared students for this election? Do you think pretty well?
I would like to hope so, right? We've done a lot of education, and actually with automatic voter registration becoming the norm here in our state, we don't need to focus on making sure students are registered. We actually need to fill the gap now and make sure that they're showing up to actually vote on election day. We know that they're registered. We just need to make sure we're getting all the pieces in line for them to actually register and advocate for themselves via the ballot.
Yeah, so how is like the youth voter turnout and CMU voter turnout? Are you excited for that? You think it's going to be?
Fingers crossed, right? We never know. It's sort of just like the polls we're watching all night. We never really know what the final call is until we'll get our data back. Actually, through Tufts University, we work with NSolve data, and we'll get our numbers back on who votes and who doesn't vote within actually a couple months. So it'll be a while before we know the final numbers, but for the most part, registration rates as well as turnout rates have been trending up with young people and at this very university. In the last election, we were above the national average for turnout for the first time ever. So we're hoping to increase that turnout and see a lot of students.
That's awesome. Thanks so much to Katie for coming. The nonpartisan education you provide college students, voters, and they help you give in registering them so that they may exercise their right to vote is valuable for us on campus. Back in the newsroom, Michael has a look at the Mid-Michigan College Board of Trustees.
Thanks, Kylie. Michigan voters will choose candidates for the Mid-Michigan Board of Trustees. These candidates include Carl Hauser, Michael Jankowiak, Onita Oles, Nathan Weisenberger, and Jane Droyevsky. Hauser and Droyevsky will go head-to-head while Oles is running unopposed. Additionally, Weisenberger will run against Droyevsky. The Board of Trustees establishes broad policies appropriate to the functioning of that college. Now we will head over to Brooklyn, where she will interview a member of the Central Republicans.
Thanks, Michael. Our last guest of the evening is a member of College Republicans, Emily. Emily, thank you so much for being here. Can you please describe your connection with the organization and what your organization stands for?
Our organization is obviously a Republican RSL on campus, and we just want to have an organization out there for Republicans on campus to come talk about their views and obviously work with local representatives like Jerry Nyer, for example, who's running for the 92nd District.
Okay. Were there any events that you held this week in lieu of this election?
Not exactly this week, but we've done door knocking in the past with Jerry Nyer, as I just said, and we went to Lansing and helped Republican candidates there do door knocking, and we had a gubernatorial watch party a while back for Tudor Dixon and Gretchen Whitmer's first debate.
Sure. So how does College Republicans differ from other political groups on campus?
We just kind of all have the same values, I guess, as Republicans, and we just meet every week Wednesdays and talk about our views and how we can help in the community.
All right. And how can students become a part of Central Republicans if they want to?
They can follow us at CMU_Republicans on Instagram or come to any of our meetings Wednesdays at 8 p.m. in ANSPO 169.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Emily.
Mm-hmm.
Students who can share their views and appreciate the forms of precedents that you can both current and relevant issues are concerned freedoms of the right-leaning community. Once again, in our newsroom, Rachel Ramsey will tell us about another political group and how they were politically active this election season.
Thanks, Brooklyn. This past week, Addison got a chance to interview the president of the Sierra Club about how this election may affect the environment. Let's take a look.
The Sierra Club is a group that comes together here on campus to talk about anything and everything to do with the environment. According to the president of the club, Tiffany George, their main goal is to preserve the environment in order to let ourselves and future generations enjoy it.
Our founder was John Muir, and he was very much for the environment, preserving it so that us and future generations can enjoy it.
While there is nothing specifically in the ballot that they are fighting for, they encourage everyone to go and vote.
Speaking with the Sierra Club lens, we do not have any specific things on the ballot that we're worried about. We tend to support any candidate that is for the environment, regardless of their political party. We would like to spread awareness about the ballot and asking people to read it carefully, but we don't have any specific policies that we're concerned about as a club.
In order to bring awareness, the club has had a few meetings where they were able to educate people in hopes that everyone will understand who and what they are voting for.
We created a long list of all of the proposals that are on the ballot and who the Sierra Club Party supports, and the current candidates in office, what do they support and how that relates to the environment. We feel that education is the most important way to spread awareness of that.
For News Central, I'm Addison Crane.
Thanks, Addison. Brooklyn, Kylie, back to you.
Thanks, Rachel. After the break, we're going to take a look at results from the 3 Michigan proposals.
And Megan will give us another look at the Michigan races on the big board. Stay tuned.
Hey, Bobo, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
Can birds draw pictures?
I don't have an answer for that.
Dad, do stars visit their friends?
Look!
There are 16 million children struggling with hunger in America. That's 1 in 5 daughters, sons, neighbors, and classmates who don't know where their next meal is coming from. Yet billions of pounds of good food go to waste every year. It's time we do something about it. Feeding America is a nationwide network of food banks that helps provide meals to millions of kids and families in need. Visit feedingamerica.org to help them feed even more. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're feeding America.
Eva Marie smoked 12,000 packs of cigarettes over 15 years. She quit, and now there's a new lung cancer screening that could save her life. You stopped smoking. Now start screening. No matter how much you smoked, early detection could save you. Talk to your doctor or learn more at savedbythescan.org.
Welcome back. Our News Central special election night coverage continues.
Thanks for tuning in as we run down the latest results from across our area. We'll now look at the proposals on this year's ballot, including the controversial Proposal 3.
Up first, ballot Proposal 1 would amend the state constitution to change the term limit for state legislatures. This means that no one can be elected more than 3 times as a state representative and 2 times as a state senator. Instead, the proposal will provide a person cannot be elected as a state legislature for terms or partial terms totaling more than 12 years. The proposal would also require state elected officials to file an annual financial disclosure report regarding liabilities, sources of income, gifts from lobbyists, and other positions held. And finally, the proposal would indirectly repeal the law that now governs the assignments of seats in the House of Representatives.
Next is Proposal 2. Our reporter Ella Przecki was able to break down what this proposal means if enacted this term.
Hi, I'm Ella Przecki, and this week I had the chance to break down Proposal 2. Take a look. Michigan Proposal 2 is the Voting Policies and Constitution Amendment and is on the November ballot in Michigan as an amendment to the state constitution. If passed, Proposal 2 would enshrine the state's voter ID law into Michigan's constitution while ensuring that military voters overseas have their ballots counted. Promote the Vote is a bipartisan group consisting of supporters including the Michigan Education Association, American Civil Liberties Union, NAACP Michigan, and the League of Women Voters that are responsible for putting Proposal 2 on the ballot. A yes vote on Proposal 2 would do 9 main things, including putting the right to vote in the state constitution, requiring 9 days of early in-person voting, and give military voters more time to return absentee ballots. It would also require the government to fund absentee ballot stamps, require more drop boxes, and allow publicly disclosed donations to fund elections. Opponents of Prop 2 argue that such changes would compromise election security. Jeffrey Litton, an executive director of Secure MI Vote, an opposing group to Proposal 2, said, quote, "Michiganders want safe and secure elections, and this amendment doesn't do that. These are permanent changes. This isn't just state law. If there's a problem with this, legislators can't just go and fix it." The confusing part about Proposal 2 is that most of these laws already exist in the state of Michigan. However, voting yes on Proposal 2 would codify these laws into the Michigan Constitution. Sharon Dolnett, a senior advisor for Promote the Vote, said, quote, "I think another piece that gets a lot of important attention is that it would enshrine our current and effective voter ID system into our Michigan Constitution. So nobody, no courts, again, elected officials can tamper with that in the future."
Limited polling has found overwhelming support for Proposal 2. The Glenn Gariff Group, commissioned by WDIV Local 4 News, released their latest survey for Prop 2. The 600-person sample shows the majority of Michiganders are in support of the proposal. 63.7% of people who support Prop 2, 32.9% of voters do not support Prop 2, and 2.6% of voters are undecided. After we talk about Proposal 3, we're going to Megan at the big board, and she will have live updates about everything election related, including Proposal 2.
Thanks, Ella. Megan will share the latest numbers on this proposal later in the show.
Finally, Proposal 3. I've researched this proposal and what it means for the state of Michigan and what supporters and the opposition have to say. Take a look.
In June of this year, the U.S. Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade, taking away the constitutional right to abortion. Now, it's up to the individual states and their authorities to regulate abortion. Here in Michigan, voters will decide today on Proposal 3, Reproductive Freedom for All. After Roe v. Wade was overturned, Michigan fell back to an abortion ban from 1931. Shortly after, Governor Gretchen Whitmer filed a lawsuit against the law. However, with Proposal 3, Michigan voters have the opportunity to circumvent that law altogether. The term reproductive freedom is defined in the proposal as, quote, "the right to make and effectuate decisions about all matters relating to pregnancy, including but not limited to prenatal care, childbirth, postpartum care, contraception, sterilization, abortion care, miscarriage management, and infertility care." Now let's talk about political action organizations in support of and opposition to the proposal. The Citizens to Support Michigan Women and Children is registered to oppose the measure. Here's what they have to say. Quote, "The reproductive freedom for all proposed constitutional amendment is not about reproductive freedom, which already exists. Planned Parenthood and the ACLU's amendment would radically distort Michigan's constitution to create a new unlimited right to abortion, which would spill over and affect many other issues. This poorly worded amendment would repeal dozens of state laws, including our state's ban on tax-funded abortions, the partial birth abortion ban, and fundamentally alter the parent-child relationship by preventing parents from having input on their children's health," unquote. In contrast, the Reproductive Freedom for All organization is registered to support the measure. Here's what they have to say. Quote, "The truth is, under Proposal 3, abortion is and will continue to be highly regulated in Michigan. Only licensed doctors can perform abortions. Late-term abortions are regulated by law and will follow the same standard as they did under Roe. Parental involvement is already legislated and will remain the same. This measure has nothing to do with gender transition. Proposal 3 says absolutely nothing about taxpayer funding." Overall, this proposition is definitely the most highly debated and contested of the three propositions on this year's ballot. This is Kylie Shapansky reporting for News Central.
Across the room at the big board, Megan will be giving us a rundown of who voted for or against each proposal.
Thanks, Kylie. We're first going to take a look at Proposal 1, which, if you again remember what they said before, it is about state legislator terms and financial disclosure reports for elected officials. So right now we are up at 64.9% are saying yes and 35.1% are saying no. We have a report of 15.87%, which is still not a ton, but it's still a good amount. Now we're going to go to Proposal 2, which is Promote the Vote. We have 57% are saying yes and 43% are saying no. I'm sorry about that. Reporting is 17.37%, so we have a lot more votes coming in for that one. Proposal 3, we have 56.3% are saying yes and 43.7% are saying no. We have 22.4% of reporting votes for that one, so that is our highest out of all. Now we're going to head it back to Kylie and Brooklyn at the desk.
That's right, Megan. When we come back, we'll give you the last update of the governor's race for the night,
as well as check in on our live reporter Ella, who is in the newsroom to report for us. All of that when we come back.
After you joined our family, it was like
I really do feel complete now.
En la región central de Estados Unidos hay un promedio de más de 850 tornados cada año y últimamente el número de inundaciones también ha aumentado. Por eso, lo más probable es que vuelva a haber más tornados e inundaciones en el área. Y con tantas actividades, es probable que cuando suceda usted no esté con sus hijos. ¿Saben ellos qué hacer? Listo.gov/niños tiene información para facilitar esta conversación. Cuando llegue el momento, se sentirán preparados y no asustados. Así que hable con su familia hoy mismo.
Put the keys down, Kevin. But I'm gonna drive home. There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving. I guess I have really been looking for love in this dating app. Yep, I'm definitely gonna call a ride home.
I felt accomplished after I got my diploma. Made me feel that I could take on whatever challenges life throws at you.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
The thing that drives me every day as a dad is him. And there's this huge responsibility in making sure that he's a good person. It's okay to make mistakes. As long as it's coming from love, it starts to work itself out.
Brandon met a girl on a dating app. He finally found the courage to ask her out. No answer. He started to panic. Was he being...
Hey, sorry I didn't respond. I was driving.
She must be a keeper.
Welcome back. Thanks for staying up late with us tonight as we bring you the local, statewide, and national election results.
Our team coverage continues from tonight as the News Central crew works to bring you the results you need to know.
With that being said, let's head on over to Megan with the last big board update.
Thanks, Brooklyn. Like you said, this is our last look at the big board. So right now we have Court of Appeals. We have Michael F. Gadola. He's up at 51.9%. And we have Brock H. Swartzel at 48.0%. This is for the Court of Appeals for the 21st District, or Circuit Court, I'm sorry. Now we're going to take our final look at the governor race. Democrat candidate Gretchen Whitmer is up at 53.2%, and we have Republican candidate Tudor Dixon at 45.3%. We have a reporting of 27.4%, which is the most reportings out of all of our ballots and proposals and candidates here this evening. We're going to head it back over to the desk. Thank you. That's all that. Oh, we'll head it back to Ella. Is still out in Mount Pleasant. Let's check her out and see how things are going.
Thanks, Megan. We just discussed all three proposals on the Michigan ballot for this year. Now I'm going to break down for you how Mount Pleasant voters voted compared to how the Michigan results are looking. For Proposal 1, in the city of Mount Pleasant, 2,718 people voted yes. For Proposal 1, 903 people voted no. And for Proposal 2, there are 2,500 yes votes, where there's 1,100 no votes. For Proposal 3, there are 2,500 yes votes and 1,200 no votes. Now remember, only 50% of Mount Pleasant precincts have reported full results. So these results are not necessarily the actual results. These look incredibly similar to the state of Michigan. Now, back to Megan at the desk.
We're joined here once again with Michael France, Rachel Ramsey, and Megan Huskins.
What an exciting election night as we wrap up our show and where we are with the governor's race.
Well, thank you to everyone who tuned in for our News Central Election Night special, and thank you to all of our reporters and crew. For News Central, I'm Kylie Shapansky.
And I'm Brooklyn Andrews. Have a great night, and we'll see you tomorrow for Central View Live.